Hey there, Sam. Thanks for attaching the parts. So the couple of things just want to kind of go through for good housekeeping to show you maybe a couple of differences you didn't know about. First thing, let's go into Sketch 1. What they were saying before is using sketch blocks. Right now you have 118 dimensions needed, so you pretty much just copied the AutoCAD block and brought it in, I'm guessing through either AutoCAD or just copying and pasting. But as far as right now goes, you show all degrees of freedom and it goes all over the place. So easiest thing to do is if you select your part here, go up to create block, and then just name it as whatever you want, but block one. So then it kind of blocks it all together, and then now you have your part. So before, if you actually look at it, here's the origin, where in here, all of your planes come together. So you have all the planes coming together, you have your axes coming together, and then you have your center point. So in the future, locating these parts in an assembly, it's very nice to have a lot of these planes because then you can just offset from them without having to locate it. Because right now, you're off by 0.028 and 0.002. So that's going to cause you problems in the future. So just to be aware, as good practice goes, figure out which corner you want to be located and locate that. So whether or not it be this corner, you could drag that to here, just in this case where it was located. So we're going to take this point and put it onto there. Now you'll notice that it still says one dimension needed. Everything looks like it's nice, but it's actually not. So I'm going to undo that. There we go. Show degrees of freedom, and see this little curve there basically means that we got to put a horizontal or vertical constraint to it. So once we do that, now it knows that this is completely horizontal. It'll be within the axis, and now we can constrain it. As I looked at it, these aren't in line with each other. They're off a little bit. So unless you wanted to have this line to here and that line to there, that doesn't seem very intuitive to me. So instead, we are going to take this top point, because those have the two longest areas there, and put it like that. So now your center line axis and all your origins and stuff will be to that point. Now we're fully constrained, so you don't have to worry about anything going away. You can reuse your sketch block later, things like that. Just a little bit of housekeeping on that. So once we finish our sketch, the thing's going to jump a little bit. Next thing to notice is that when you have your hole set up, um, just as a general practice, never ever use the zero dimension. I just don't do it. It causes issues as far as like directions, constraints. It just doesn't work. It's just not really good practice. I don't know how else to say it other than that. But now if we delete them, so we show all degrees of freedom. Now this point looks like it can, no, I think it's just the point. This point? Yeah, there it is. And this point. Okay, so if you want those to be set to here, that's one thing. Putting it as zero dimension, it's just hard. You could stick it like so, but if you're going to derive that dimension from a zero dimension later in your iPart to change it, I would start it somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. That's hard to say. Just as a general practice, don't ever use a zero dimension. Sorry to say it. I don't know how else to comment on that. But so if you click on there, and then you could stick it to there and there. If it does need to move, I'd maybe look at a different way to do it, but I'll make it off of that. So if once we finish, then you get your sill pattern and some of this stuff that's suppressed. So I think what you're talking about is maybe if you go into this setup to where now the holes don't match up. Not particularly sure. So if you can maybe show where that zero dimension is then driving. Okay, maybe it's in this part. Okay. Not really sure how that setup's going or where it's failing. So maybe a little bit more info as far as where that goes and how that's getting driven. Maybe I can back out. Okay, so let's finish that and go to one of these and see if these dimensions, aha, there we go. Okay, so that's what we're finding out, is that it's going the other way. So let's see, go to our holes here, and it's flipping the other way. Okay, so yeah, unless you specify that it's going one direction, having a zero direction, that's the problem. Um, well, if it's not being used, then keeping it at the zero position isn't helpful. I would just set it up at this position or a max position, um, and then suppress it if it's not being used. But keeping it at zero is probably going to just cause you more headaches than anything. Um, Not a very good explanation as far as why not to use zero other than this. I just know that in my experience with the inventor, having zero set dimensions like that, it's not going to be fun, especially with iParts because it'll pop the other way and things like that. So hopefully that helps. Probably not, but